بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
And welcome again to our next session, inshallah, which will be looking at ayah number 8 of Surah Al-Mulk. Just a reminder that, of course, this is a class which is only for sisters. And if sisters can please make sure that they are in a quiet area of their house, and if you have got earphones or headphones, if you could also put them on, please. Jazakumullahu khairan. Okay, let's start the new ayah. Okay, this one is as you'll have noticed, Surah Tabarak does have longer ayahs in there. Okay, so we're going to start, inshallah, with the first part, and we'll read just the top line first. We have here, after the isti'adha, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Roxana?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
Okay, it just sounds like, you know, when you have the Hamza and the Ain at the beginning, it sounds like you're getting ready for the Ain. So for the Hamza, stay very relaxed. Just say Remember, don't bring your lips out too much, because if you bring them out too much, it'll be like an air sound. So your lips just a little bit of a smile only, and then open a little bit. A'udhu.
أعوذ.
So what I'm saying, Pupaji, is I can hear air sound in it. I can't hear a sound. So I want say on its own for me. Okay, so let me show you with my lips again. So it sounds like you're doing this and say air.
Okay.
Right? I want can you see how a little bit I open this way as well, and I'm not so wide with my lips?
Okay.
So that's a little bit better. Hamza, fatha. Now try أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
And don't forget, Pupuji, when we say mina shaitan, the fatha on the noon, so we don't say mina shaitanir rajim.
من الشيطان الرجيم.
And the heavy ra. Mina shaitanir rajim.
من الشيطان الرجيم.
The fatha on the noon is much better. Jazakumullahu khairan. The ra can still be heavier still. Remember we said that when you say the ra, you want the middle of your tongue should dip in a bit so that the back of the tongue is easy to go a little bit higher to make the ra heavy. Minash shaytanir rajim.
من الشيطان الرجيم.
It's better. Jazakumullahu khairan. Sister Saira. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Okay, so when you say the basmala, first of all, the kasra on the B, so we don't want to say bis, we want to say bis. So we don't make the B long. We don't say bis. We move to the scene, but I want to hear the E in the B. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
Okay. The other thing is, you know, the Ras, we want to make the Ras a little bit heavier. So can you say on its own for me first? Ra.
Ra.
See, that's not bad, mashallah. When you're saying it in the basmala, it's becoming a lot weaker. So this same Ra, let's try to apply it. Also, when you join, Bismillahir, that Ra is also the same. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
Better, Jazakumullahu khairan. Sister Radliya, if we do the first part. تكاد تميز من الغيظ.
Sorry.
Okay.
تكاد تميز من الغيظ.
Let's try it again. تكاد تميز من الغيظ.
تكاد تميز من الغيظ.
Not bad. I can hear a little noon sound at the end. You know when you say after the va? So I think your tongue after saying va is sort of going in, or you're pressing on the makhraj of noon. Be careful to keep that a bit clear so you stay on the va. من الغيظ.
من الغيظ.
That's better. Let's break this down, inshallah, for everybody. So first of all, we have takadu, and takadu. We'll notice that the kaf in the middle is 2 counts, and it's sort of sandwiched in between 2 letters which are 1 count each. After the dal, we go straight to the ta. We don't prolong this dal, so you have to be careful of that. Okay, so we say takadu ta, takadu tamayyaz. Okay. When we join the ya, and we've had this similar scenario before when we're joining a ya with a letter before, and the ya is mushaddad. We have a nabar here because it's ya mushaddad. So when we join the meme to the ya, we join a little bit quickly. So there's a small, like a slight increase in the speed. We emphasize the joining, and again we stay on the ya for the rahawa, so you keep it running. Damay. Okay, you keep it running. Then you go on to the fatha. Damayyazu. Okay, the za here we have to be careful. Now the za is very easy to turn into like a sin, because za, just how we've looked at how some triplets of letters come from the same makhraj, za shares its makhraj with sin and sad. Okay, that means all 3 are from the same place. The difference, and again I'll go into inshallah the makhraj another time, because there is another letter that I want to discuss today. The difference between the sin and the za, one of the differences is that sin is an airy letter. So when you hear the sin, you hear it with your breath. Okay, you only use your breath when you say s. The sound of your breath comes through a gap between your teeth. But when you say the letter za, za is a letter of jahr. It is a letter that has it also has the sound of your voice running. So you don't rely on the breath, you rely on your voice this time. Okay, so this time, instead of saying, and if you do rely on the breath, it will become like a scene. It'll become like the may, yes, right? You want the may, you should be able to hear the sound of your voice coming through as you say the za. This sometimes takes a little bit of practice, but really what you want to do is you want to really push the sound of your voice out. So don't stop the sound of your voice. Don't say tamayyasu, su. See, it becomes like a scene. Tamayyazu, zu. It's almost like the letter Z. Sometimes say like when you say the word buzzing, right? It's that sound that you want. Okay, and of course because it's got the dhamma at the end, we want to round our lips when we say the zu. We don't want to say tamayyazu. Okay, zu, tamayyazu, just how the dal is also do as well. Takadu tamayyazu. Okay. When you move from the next word to the last one, so from min to al-ghayl, originally this was a sakin, it was iltiqa as-sakinain, and the solution here for those of you that have learned this, if you haven't learned this, don't worry, you don't need to remember this, but if you have, this is for the benefit of those who are already familiar with this. We have iltiqa as-sakinain here, and the solution here was the tahliq bil fath. So we've added a fatha so that it is easier to then join and continue from one word to the next. Okay, the lam we've already discussed. The ghain we know is a heavy letter. It's in khussa daghtin qidh. So this time we're going to drop our jaw a little bit. We've got to think about our direction of the voice, the dip in the tongue, the back of the tongue being raised as a result. But here we have to be careful with the word al-ghayl, because we have a heavy letter followed by a light letter, back to a heavy letter again. The ya is a rahawa letter. It's one of those letters that you stay on. You keep it running. You say minal ghayy. You don't just say minal ghayy. You say minal ghayy. Keep it running first, and then you have to go back to a heavy letter. So how do we move and make sure that our ya in the middle is light? And it does depend on how you're moving your mouth. Okay. So the ya, because it's a light letter, now I have put myself onto the larger screen. So for those of you watching the recording, the screen will be black. So when you say ra, right, your mouth opens this way, ra, and your sound of the direction of the sound is upwards, ra, okay? When you want to move to the ya, you now have to go to a light letter. We know our light letters, we have to smile a little bit for them, and we've opened vertically a little bit. So after saying ra, we want to go lift our jaw a little bit up and spread the lips a little bit. I'll just say the ghayz just for practice. Ra, ghay, ghay, ghay. If you don't do that movement and you don't spread the lips out a little bit, then the ya might sound heavy. You might say ghay, ghay, right? And you don't want to ghay. See the difference? Ghay, which is wrong. Ghay, okay? And then when you want to go back to your heavy letter, again, you're gonna drop that small smile that you did. That has to go. Okay, so you'll say gha, ghayl, ghayl, ghayl. You see the smile goes at the end. Now, coming back. So also the la also is a letter. Sorry, I've gone back. The la is also a letter of rahawa. It's one of those ones that you keep running as well, just like the ya. So you can't just say, we cannot say al-ghayl and stop. You have to keep it running a little bit. Al-ghayl. You see this at the end? Al-ghayl. Keep it running. Sister Radhiya, if you could say that again for me. Min al-ghayl.
Min al-ghayz.
Much better. The law was much better this time, alhamdulillah. I also want to show you today the makhraj of the law. So let me just bring it out for you here. Can you see the screen, Sister Radhiya?
Yes.
Okay, jazakumullah khairan. So this is the letter law on the right side of the screen. And you'll notice here now, we know it's a heavy letter. It's in khussa dagtin qidh. So we can see that we've got this raising of the back of the tongue, and this is going to help us to direct our voice upwards. Now I've drawn the arrows straight up because remember the la has that extra element of itbaq, that trapping sound. So we're not going to go diagonally this way anymore. We're going to go vertically, okay? And what I want you to pay attention to is what is happening to the front of the tongue, the tip of the tongue. You can notice that the tip of the tongue is not coming out so much. As you can see, like where the teeth are, it's not coming out so much. It's not sticking out, but it is touching the top teeth. Okay, you can see a very sort of small touch here. I'll have to get rid of that so you can see properly. So you can, and so that's how you're pronouncing the va. Okay, I'm also going to show you using my model. So you'll see here, okay, if this is your mouth and this is your tongue, okay, the tongue, let me just bring that together a little bit. So the very tip of the tongue comes and touches the, let's make sure I've covered that properly, the top of the upper two front teeth. It's not sticking out like this, okay? You're using the very tip and using that on your teeth, okay, the top two teeth, okay? Now again, it's a touch which is not with pressure, so you don't do it hard. It's a very light touch, and it needs to be light because when it's, if it's a light touch, because you've got to let the sound run, because it's a rahawa letter, the sound needs to keep coming. If you press too hard, you're going to stop the sound because you're going to block the way. Okay, you're going to say al-ghayd, and then you're going to block it. So to keep the sound running, it has to be a very light touch so that at the same time, there is a very small spaces where the sound comes out of. So you say, min al-ghayl. See, I could keep going for as long as my breath goes. I extended that a long time just to demonstrate to you, okay? But you should be able to say L, and you keep it running. You can hear the sound is going, not your breath, but the sound is coming through. Okay. Right, let me bring us back to my share. And I don't want this one anymore. Let's go back to our ayah. So, Sister Radia, if we can say this again, the whole from the beginning. تكاد تميز من الغيظ.
تكاد تميز من الغيظ.
Yes, but there was a small stop in the sound of your voice. I don't know if you noticed. You know, at the end of the ghay, keep the sound going. Don't stop the sound. من الغيظ.
Excuse me. من الغيظ.
That's better. Jazakumullahu khairan. The makhraj is better. I want just the the itbaq. So don't forget that it has to be a heavy letter, and the dha here is it's a letter which is heavier than the ghain because the ghain doesn't have itbaq. Okay, min al-ghayl.
من الغيظ.
I can min al-ghayl. I want to hear, because at the moment it doesn't sound like the dha has a sukoon on it. It sounds like you're saying min al-ghayl, right? But I want it joint. So I want at the end of the ghayl, I want the dha straight away. Min al-ghayl.
من الغيظ.
Better. Jazakumullahu khairan. Okay, Sister Humera, if you can recite the next part for me. Now, for the sake of practice, I am going to stop on this word, okay, because I want to join these last two words together. Otherwise, I would have stopped after Fawj. كلما ألقي فيها فوج سألهم.
كلما ألقي فيها فوج سألهم.
Okay, there's a few things here. So the first one was, don't forget the makhraj of qaf. This one's easy for you to fix. I think because you were thinking about other things, it just slipped. So don't forget the makhraj of qaf. It sounds like kaf. Ulqiya.
ألقي.
That's better. And also the lam in kullama and ulqiya. Remember yesterday we were talking about how you have to, because in both cases, if you look, the letter before is a letter that has a dhamma for both of them. And so you're already rounding the lips. And so we said for the lam, you need to come back. So you come back to a slight smile position. So you say ku, kul, kullama. You need to come out. Remember we talked about the inhiraf and how you need to make space for the sound to come out from the sides. Kul. If you don't bring it out, it'll be kul, kul, and the lam sort of the sound of it changes. Okay, so for both of them we need to do that. Even for ul, same thing. Kullama ulqi. Try that.
كلما ألقي.
It's better. I can tell that you, from the sound, that you have smiled and you are bringing, the sound is coming, but the makhraj of the lam, it still sounds heavy. So the back of the tongue you want completely relaxed. You want to use only the front of the tongue should be coming up. Okay, so we'll try this again. Only the front of the tongue. So stay relaxed. Don't let the back, don't let it raise at all. Don't let the middle of the tongue dip either. Just let the front of the tongue just curl. Okay. كلما ألقي.
كلما ألقي.
That's a bit better. Jazakumullahu khairan. We'll say it again and we'll carry on till the end. كلما ألقي فيها فوج سألهم.
كلما ألقي فيها فوج سألهم.
Yes, when we say this lean letter, when we say the fa followed by the wow lean, we have to first finish saying the first letter with the fatha. So first say fa, then go to the lips. Fau, fau. Now again, I'm going to show this for those of you who are watching. So you know how your mouth opens when you say the fa, fa. You can see that my lips separate. Fa, fa. Now you can't become lazy in that when you're going to move on to the wow. Because if you don't finish that complete movement before going on to the wow, the fatha sound is going to change and it becomes like fo, for example, fo, right? You want fa, fo. So what you notice is my mouth opens first, then I go for the wow. Fa, fo, fo, fo. That's how you get the fatha of the fa, okay? Fa, fo. You don't say, if you say fo, fo, see the fa sounds heavier than it should. So finish the movement, then go on to the wow. فوج سألهم. Try that, Sister Humera.
فوج سألهم.
That was much better. Jazakumullah khairan. And the last thing with this part of the ayah that I want to discuss is the rule that we have here, which is our ikhfa. For those of you that know, ikhfa haqiqi, it has in this case, it has a light gunna. How are we going to pronounce this ikhfa? So I want to discuss this a little bit today. Whenever we do, now this is one of the more common type of ikhfas. You do get ikhfas which are also have a heavy gunna, and we saw that when we had the qaf, like shay'in qadir, for example, in ayah number 1. This time we have the letter that is coming after is a light letter. So we have a tanween, which has got our noon sakin hidden in there that we can hear when we say fawjun. You can hear a noon there. What we're doing in this case is we're going from the ju. So we're kind of taking, we're not fully taking a dhamma off this time. Okay, the noon sound. The noon has two components to it. When we pronounce a noon, we have two parts. We have the part where the tongue is involved, so you touch the top, and you have the part where the sound travels, okay? So in this case, what we're doing when we say the ikhfa is we lose the part of the tongue touching the top for the noon. So there's no touching the tongue at the top for the noon. And instead, what you're going to do is you're going to get ready and prepare the tongue for the next letter, which in this case is the letter sin. So after saying ju, after saying the ju, we go straight to the articulation point or the makhraj of the sin. So we say jewel. If I take out the gunna for now, I will say jewel, 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 fau, jewel, jewel. So you're going from ju to the sin. You're not hearing any noon. And then what you want to do is whilst you're holding that position, and I'll show you on another image that I have here. So let me just bring that up. Okay, this is your picture of what is going on generally with the ikhfa. Of course, we do have some exceptions, and we saw that with the qaf. What you're seeing here is that a lot of the sound, as you can see, is going up through the nose, and there is some sound coming through the mouth. So you're not relying on the nose completely, okay? This means that when you're pronouncing, now this is for a different makhraj. The sin makhraj is actually down here at the bottom, okay? It's not at the top. This is showing it for letter ta, dal, da or dal. Let me just come back to my, okay, so what are we doing here? We're saying fawju, and then after ju, we go to the makhraj of sin. We hold that position, and then we have to make sure that the sound is going through the nose and a small amount is going through the mouth. So we're saying fawjun sa. Now, because it's a light letter coming afterwards, your lips will spread out a little bit for the scene. I'm going to show you this. So you'll say fa, fau, juan, juan. So you say the ju, and then your lips come out a little bit to make sure that you're saying, getting ready for the light scene, which is coming later or coming after, okay? Fau, juan, juan. And then some of the sound is coming through my nose, some of the sound is coming through my mouth. So and you'll know if you're doing it right if you hold your nose halfway. If you hold your nose halfway, if you're doing it right, you should still be able to continue the sound because you're still using your mouth. If you're using all your nose for the sound, then when you stop your nose, that means you've blocked the sound and the sound's just going to cut off. So if I'm using just my nose, I'm saying fawjun, fawjun, it stops. But if I'm using my mouth, which I should be at the same time, فوجوا, it carries on. فوجوا, it carries on because the sound is also coming through my mouth. I haven't blocked everything. So that's like a test that you can do to make sure that your ikhfa is correctly. So some of the sound is through the nose, some of the sound is through the mouth. Let's try this, Sister Homera again. فوجوا سألهم.
فوج سألهم.
Yes, good. And you'll notice that you're not saying fawjun. If you're hearing the fawjun sa, then that means you're touching the top of the tongue. I'll say it both ways so you can hear it when I'm pressing on the noon and when I'm not. So the incorrect way, when you press on the noon, would sound fawjun sa'alahum. You can hear the noon very clear. It's like there's a pressure on the noon that it makes it very, very clear to hear. That's the incorrect way. I'll say it again. فَوْجٌ سَأَلَهُمْ. Okay. What you want to say is don't touch the tip of the tongue. Instead, put it get it ready for the makhraj of sin. فَوْجٌ سَأَلَهُمْ. فَوْجٌ سَأَلَهُمْ. Okay, that's how you're saying the ikhfa here in this case. So you notice the ikhfas are changing. Although the general formula of how you pronounce the ikhfa is generally the same, apart from the qaf and the kaf, which are quite different, but generally for all the letters, the theory is the same, but the ikhfa sound will vary from letter to letter. Okay. Okay, let's move on to the next part. We have only got a few minutes left. So this one, please, Sister Syra, if you could do this one with me. We're going to start for this one. We will start from Sa'alahum. Get rid of that. We'll start from here. Sa'alahum khazanatuha alam ya'tikum nadhir.
سألهم خزنتها ألم يأتكم نذير.
Okay, so first of all, the ha. So remember that this ha, we're not forcing any air out. It's just whatever comes naturally. So we don't say khazanatuha, ha, ha. It's a little, I can hear it's a little bit mixed with this ha. So remember, stay very relaxed. The same place where your hamza, aha, ha, ha, ha. This is the ha that we want. Okay. And with this ha, you'll notice that your voice comes through at the same time. You can actually hear the sound of your voice. I'm not just saying, it's not just, it's not just sound of the breath. I can hear ha, ha. Okay. You can hear the sound of your voice as well. And also the dal at the end, keep it light because it's becoming heavy. You're lifting the back of the tongue. It's sounding like a dha. Okay, so we want to keep it light. To keep it light, stay relaxed. Just use the very tip of the tongue. Only the tip of the tongue comes out, but the rest of the tongue is not. You're not putting any energy into moving any back part of the tongue. It's all resting and down. Okay, let's try the ha first. Khazanatuha.
خزنتها
Ha.
ha
That's better. That's a good one. خزنتها.
خزنتها
Jazakumullahu khairan. And then let's try the last one. Nadhir.
نذير.
Yes, and I want, when you're touching the teeth with your tip of your tongue, I want you to do a lighter touch. Keep it really light. Nadir, I should hear the nadir.
نذير
Yeah, still at the beginning, you're still, it's almost like you're pressing your teeth and sort of letting go and saying nadr, nadr. Just come up very lightly, just hold that position very gently. Nadir.
نذير
That was much better. That was much better. Barakallahu fiki. Let's try from the beginning. Sa'alahum khazanatuha alam ya'tikum nadhir.
سألهم خزنتها ألم يأتكم نذير.
Just one more thing with the hamza here. When you say ya'tikum, you're going a little bit close to the ain. Although it doesn't sound like a full ain, you're getting close to the ain. So again, what you're doing here is the hamza's from the bottom of the throat, so it's the same place as your ha, but all you're doing is you're just cutting off the sound of your voice. So nothing should tighten. No part of your throat is sort of tightening, like it does for the ain. It's just alam ya, alam ya'tikum.
ألم يأتكم.
That's much better. Jazakumullah khairan. Let's go back just one time from the beginning, inshallah. I am just a couple of minutes. I will be a couple of minutes over. So if we start with Sister Radia, you did the first one. تكاد تميز من الغيظ.
تكاد تميز من الغيظ.
Yeah, don't forget Radia, the lam. You want to hold it for the tawassut. Hold it a little bit, not too long, not too short. من الغيظ.
من الغيظ.
I'm not hearing that joining bit again. Remember we were saying after ghay, you can't separate from the dha. Ghay, straight to the dha when you finish the ya. Try again.
تكاد تميز من الغيظ.
I can hear the because you're sort of pushing out at the same time. You don't push the sound out forcefully. Okay, it's a very gentle dha. Min al-ghayz.
من الغيظ.
That's better. Jazakumullah khairan. Sister Humaira. كلما ألقي فيها فوج سألهم.
كلما ألقي فيها فوج سألهم.
Okay, because I'm rushed for time, I'm going to leave the ha. The ha I know you can fix because your ha was a little bit mixed as well. So just inshallah, just pay attention to that because I know you can fix that easily. And finally, Sister Saira, سألهم خزنتها ألم يأتكم نذير.
سألهم خزنتها ألم يأتكم نذير.
جزاكم الله خيرا. We'll stop there inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن الحكيم ونفعني وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.